Welcome to FTB Weekends. We are recording this on Saturday, the 20th of August. Wow, 20th of August, 2022. It's 12:14 p.m. Eastern Time in case stuff happens in the stories between the time we're recording and the time you see this. I am, of course, Jason C. McLean. Welcome. And joining me, as always, is Dawn McSweeney. Hey, Dawn, how's it going?
Hello, it's good.
It's good. Neither of us are the anchors of CTV National
Ugh.
News. But you know who also isn't the anchor of CTV National News anymore? Lisa LaFlamme. That's been a big story. It's a media story. I'll just go through it briefly. She was unceremoniously let go. She didn't get a big on-air send-off. She actually did a personal video where she basically said that she felt blindsided. Apparently, it was some exec from the corporate side of Bell Media. At first, apparently who asked who approved her having gray hair. Didn't like that. And then basically fought with her over budgets and stuff. She wanted more budgets to cover Ukraine and I think the Queen's Jubilee. And they're like, oh, no, we got to cut budgets. We'll just do it from Toronto and stuff like that. And then basically she was let go, replaced by Omar Sachedina. And of course, there's been a huge row in the press about this. People have there's petitions to get her back. Bell even said that they regret the handling of her dismissal, not dismissing her in the first place.
Okay, so first of all, I have all the opinions. First of all, currently trending in Canada is Fire Michael Melling. He's the guy.
Yeah.
Even though he tried to put some female executive in between him and the firestorm. What was interesting was, first of all, as to Lisa LaFlamme going gray, because I noticed it happening because it happened during lockdown. So while nobody else could go and get their hair did, she also didn't go get her hair did. And it was such a humanizing thing to watch people who are famous and being in the same boat as us. And I loved it. And then I was so happy she didn't go back to dyeing her hair. First of all, she looks like a queen. Second of all, she shouldn't have to. Third of all, it seems artifice to then go back and dye it when everybody watched you go gray with us. And
Yeah.
she was actually let go at the end of June and was told not to mention it. So what they had tried to get her to do, they wanted to give her the on-air thing. They said if she said she was retiring, which would have been a lie. So she didn't do it. So she sat on this information. What I just read in an article in Globe and Mail is Bell saying internally in a meeting that they regret that they announced her dismissal the same day they announced their new anchor. They said that shouldn't have been done on the same day, which is obviously not the point, but funny how they're missing the whole point.
Yeah.
I think that age, respect, and experience and gray hair is something that has always been something that's a factor and important when you look at news anchors. Walter Cronkite, like name a news anchor like Lloyd Robertson forever, like
Yeah.
and to
You get
hold
more
a woman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the one job where you get more respectable with gray hair and older. People want to see someone they can trust on the screen. They don't
a
want some
hundred
kid
percent.
necessarily.
I
Yeah.
want to see somebody who's also been there as long as I can remember. And I've seen her go from, covering things to sitting at the desk, right? And it's like, um, it's funny because I found out about this watching CBC, and the ticker was like, hey, man, they just unceremoniously fired her hard. And then it's
Yeah.
funny because you watch CTV and they're just like, fa la 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 la
Yeah.
la.
Oh, the other global too. All the other networks are like they love covering stories like this. They love, yeah. I mean, for them, it's like, hey, at least we're not doing this kind of shit. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And yeah, and you know what's interesting is that I had once years ago tweeted one of the ladies, I forget who it was, on their morning show, and they said they were allowed to pick their own outfits because there had been some controversy of some American networks that were kind of forcing women to wear short skirts and high heels, whereas the CTV ladies were allowed to pick their own outfits for things like that. But it's like you're not allowed to pick your own hair, as evidenced by Michael Melling literally saying who let her go gray, which is, I mean,
yeah.
wow, out loud. He said it out loud in front of other humans who can quote him on it. So the fact that he doesn't understand the problem is
he is the problem. The thing is, the person before him was actually a news person who was sort of the liaison with corporate and stuff. And I guess that's the person who quote unquote let her go gray, because that's when she did, was during the pandemic. But like, no, she even, I remember she was saying like how she was manually dyeing her hair, and she's like, screw it, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Screw it,
Like,
man. First of all, once again, it was a great humanistic choice for at the time when you're in the situation where you're reporting on a never before seen global event like the
yeah,
lockdown. And how are you going to handle that to humanize yourself to these people? And I think that was the right way, is to watch people go gray with us, to watch people
yeah,
just be in the same boat. It was so much about being in the same boat. And then I don't think you can put the genie back in the bottle and try to reclaim this artifice and separateness and perfection. She's a news anchor, not an Instagram model. Her
yeah.
value isn't on whether or not you like her hairdo.
Yeah, the thing though, speaking about putting the genie back in the bottle, could CTV bring her back and actually
No,
unfire her? No, they couldn't do that.
no.
At
It
this
would
point,
be
they
it would be appalling and atrocious. She deserves to go to some place where they would
yeah,
respect her just for the way it is.
yeah, because that's the thing
If
is they
there
were
wasn't if it wasn't for the backlash, make no mistake that they would stand by their decision. If we
yeah.
didn't find out about that quote, they would have just been like, "Oh, we wanted to go another direction because of stats or something like that." And nobody would have ever found out. So this isn't
Also,
about, yeah.
no hate to Omar Sajadia. He's just the guy who got the
No,
job after her.
he got trapped in this. He deserves it too. It's not that he
Yeah,
doesn't deserve it. It's that there was no reason for that position to be open because it was Lisa LaFlamme's job.
yeah, exactly. And the thing is, it's Canada's most popular like TV newscast. It's by
Yeah.
far the leader. It beats CBC, it beats Global. Like, and now they might not be the number one anymore. Like that's it's possible.
I think
It,
it's a hit to their integrity.
yeah,
I mean, if
it's
that's where your priority lies when discussing matters of import, then your priorities are in the wrong place.
yeah. Or one guy's priority who had far too much
One
power.
guy who somehow got too much power, so yeah, fair enough. But
I think
then,
they could at least fire him. They might act that actually might make some people
yes,
happy if they
yeah.
fired
If
him.
they, well, that's what's trending, like I said right now. So if they do fire him, that's the way that, you know what, if they might be able to get her back. But honestly, if I was her, I don't know what I would do, because on the one hand, I'd want to be like, screw you guys, I'm going home and go
Or
somewhere else. But at the same time, the ability to go back and be like, oh, yeah, they fired the guy who fired me and I'm back, bitches.
Or what they could do is they could do something like, I mean, maybe have like a co-anchor thing with Omar for another decade or something like that. Like, hey, they have co-anchors on CT. By the way, Mitsumi Takahashi, how she's is she gray yet?
Her
In
hair is not
Montreal?
black.
It's
Let's
not
say her
black.
hair
It's
is not black, but I mean, it seems lighter. So I actually was contemplating her hair the other day just because I was just staring at her the other day thinking how cool it is and how that she's
well,
still there.
she's been the anchor since I was a kid.
Five
I remember her
ever.
for like since the
She
80s at least.
Well,
Yeah, like
she was after Lynn Desjardins. Remember
yeah.
Lynn Desjardins and that dude who I forget the name
Well,
of?
Bill Hoagland was there with
That's
her for a
it.
while.
That's
Hoagland was
it.
there. With Such CTV Montreal does the co-anchor thing, and they had her and Hoagland for a while, and then he retired, and then they had her with a bunch of different like Leslie Roberts, a bunch of
And
different
she
like
kills. And
people.
nobody
Yeah,
ever talked to her about like, I don't know, maybe it's because she's local. It
corporate
makes
doesn't
a
interfere as
difference.
much with Montreal, and she's also the face of CTV. Like I
She's the
mean,
face
she's
of
been there.
CTV, but
Yeah,
one could argue that Lisa LaFlamme was too. So,
yeah.
but this reminds me of the time that Canada AM, it used to have when Seamus O'Regan was, a TV guy and not a politics guy. And when they had that on, I remember that they also cut that whole show with very little fanfare and notice. So like the show came on one week and was like, we've just been informed this is our last week. And they didn't get to do a send off. They didn't get to do and it was just, seems like CTV management is prone to making some random
Well,
impulsive
it's
decisions.
maybe Bell management rather than
Yeah,
CTV
yeah.
management. Yeah,
Bell, let's blame Bell. And I
yeah.
mean, especially, you know what I especially love? Let's remember this when the mental health Bell Let's Talk comes around, that they're out here firing experienced, qualified women for hair color. And at the end of the day, that doesn't contribute to anybody's mental health. That's a toxic work environment,
Yeah,
and they're hypocritical cows. And just make sure to use their hashtag when
yeah,
it comes up, so that they
yeah,
still have to pay while you call
yeah.
them hypocritical cows.
Yeah. No, the thing is, obviously, unless she's brought back, Lisa LaFlamme won't be covering the 2022 Quebec election, but we will on Forget the Box, and of course we have
So
a
will
poll
Mitsumi
up.
Takahashi, just so we're clear.
Yeah,
Don't leave her out of this. Okay, go on.
yeah, but Lisa Mitsumi will be. We have a poll up for the Quebec election. We always do polls for elections, and one year I actually forgot to include the CAQ and Francois Legault on the poll. I had like the Marxist-Leninist Party. I had all these different random parties, but I didn't have the CAQ. This year I didn't forget the CAQ. They're on the poll, but the winner of the poll normally gets the endorsement of FTB readers in the post written by us, and that's true except for if it's Francois Legault. We will acknowledge the victory because it's probably a spam or we misjudged our audience. But I'm sorry, nobody here, you, me, I don't want to write an endorsement post for Legault. I cannot bring myself.
Okay,
to
so
do.
you froze.
Yeah.
So just to recap, what I know that you said is that we at Forget the Box endorse do a little endorsement of whoever wins the poll of who we want to have, except in this case, we will acknowledge if Legault wins the poll, but we will not write the endorsement because we're going to have to blame that on spam, and also none of our writers will participate in that.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
recap.
Exactly. That's the recap. Yes, that's what I said. But I guess it was. Did they freeze? I
You
didn't
froze for
freeze
a hot
me.
second, but maybe it was just on my end. But regardless, long story short, fully agree. I'm going to cast my vote for not Legault.
Not Legault. We have Ballarama's party on there.
Yeah, by the way, the CAQ is, oh no, wait, the Bloc Québécois is trying to make trouble with the Bloc Montreal, saying that it causes confusion, which it obviously doesn't.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have an option which is not Legault. So the thing is, with this poll, you can re-vote. You only get one vote, but you can re-vote. So if you're undecided, you can put undecided. If you want anyone but Legault, you can put not Legault. And later, if you make up your mind before the election date, which is early the first week of October, unless Legault decides to call it earlier because he can. But then you can always change your vote to an actual party, and we'll see how it goes. I think
That's
not Legault
great.
might win the vote. So the Bloc is at least not. Are they suing? Are they suing for the name?
I think they sent him some sort of, hey, stop it. I don't know if it was a technical cease and desist, but yeah, they filed some sort of formal complaint about the name and kind of demanding that they change it because they're saying that it causes confusion, which, again, it doesn't. If you support the Bloc, you know which Bloc you support, regardless
Yeah,
if it's Quebecois, Quebec or Montreal. You're not going to be confused.
but what about those people who just like blocking things that don't really have an issue on the national on that geopolitical on like Quebec versus Canada or Montreal? They just like block. They like playing with blocks. Like maybe they might get confused.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah, they will. Okay. Well, what's not confusing is the fact that you can go to the site, forgetthebox.net. There's a post up now, but where you can vote. Also, it's in the sidebar of every page on forgetthebox.net. It will be until the poll closes. And you can also follow Dawn on Twitter and Instagram at McMoxie, me at Jason C. McLean on Twitter and Instagram, Forget the Box on Twitter and Instagram at Forget the Box. And if you're watching this video on Facebook, share, subscribe, follow our page. Forget the Box. If you're on YouTube, smash that
wherever
like button.
You're watching it. Like, yes, share, tell your friends, post it to all of your social.
I get to
tag us in your shit.
I get to say smash that like button on YouTube. You don't say that for Facebook. On YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. And follow Forget the Box on YouTube too. Notifications, that's what that means. And also we have an Android app, and for daily content and to vote in the poll, vote early, vote often, you can check out forgetthebox.net. We'll catch you next time for another FTB weekend.